The month and year are halfway over, and that means so is the Kinda Funny membership drive. If you love the nearly 20 live shows we do each week, we'd love for you to throw a Kinda Funny membership our way on patreon.com/kindafunny and youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Thank you, and we'll see all of you for the happy hour this Friday on YouTube, but only members can call to talk to us.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to today's Kinda Funny Gamescast for Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. I'm one of your show hosts, Snowbike Mike, and today I'm joined by the whole gang. The team is back, and we got Greg Miller in the office, but I'll start off with my main man, Blessing Adeoye Jr., Mr. Kickball. What up, Bless? How are you?
Good day, Mike.
My 2XKO doubles partner.
Oh, yeah.
Andy, you're out. It's me and Bless only.
Oh, I'm so destroyed by this news. So just battered that I can't spend more time with you. That's
I want to spend all my time with you,
how
Andy.
I feel. when Mike says miss you to Andy, but it's the same.
Of course, out here on the lineup, we have Andy Cortez. Andy, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mike.
Andy,
Fantastic.
I'm playing through Armored Core. I'm thinking about you, having a good time. I didn't make an ugly mech.
Well, I'm really, really proud of you.
Come on,
dude.
it's a good-looking mech. Took off all
I
my
won't
sponsors
miss.
because I want you to know that my mind has been opened by the Coral. And I've rejected the sponsor dollars, and now I'm there for the Rubiconians.
Yeah.
Proud of you, Mike.
That's
Quite
what
the
it's all
corporate
about.
greed.
If,
Yeah.
Quite the
Yeah.
corporate greed.
if people know, they know.
He says while wearing this 100 Thieves shirt.
Send me the T-shirt.
Branded
Nate
out
Shot.
of his fucking mind.
$280.
Nate Shot, help me out. Send this. Send this. And of course, today's special guest. He's back in the office. We've missed him so much. What up, Greg Miller? How are you?
I am great, Michael. How
Yeah.
are you? It does me well to be on a show again with you.
Yeah, you had Gary Witta earlier today on Games Daily.
Sure
It's
did.
nice to have the crew together. Nice to have a Witta Wednesday as well. Thanks for making that happen.
Anytime. That's what I do for you guys.
How are you doing today? You're back from vacation. How are you feeling back in the office?
Good. Never enough time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Wish I had more free time. Got 1,000 emails to do and projects to go off of.
Yeah.
Bad preschool drop off today. We're trying to find the sauce on how to do it the right way. Yesterday was the Irish goodbye where we just faded away. Jen didn't feel good about that one. So today was all right, we're meltdown city. Like, all right, we got to dial this
You know
one back.
what you should do? The ones you see go viral on, it's usually with dogs, but it could work, where you have the blanket up, you hold the blanket,
Sure.
Oh.
and
Sure.
you drop it, and then
You saw the
go
photo of him
past
crying at the
doorway.
glass, right?
Yeah, I did see
Yeah,
that. I mean,
yeah.
that's the perfect kind of situation because he can't go past the glass and be like,
sure,
whoa, where'd they go?
Sure, yeah,
You know?
yeah. But I'm good, Mike, and I'm here.
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
happy playing some games, redacted and such.
Yeah, you're playing a lot of games. I'm excited to talk games with you because today's episode is all about you, Greg Miller. And we're going to talk about that in just a couple of moments because, of course, this is the Kinda Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we get together to talk about the biggest reviews, previews, and topics in the video game world live on YouTube and on Twitch, and, of course, later on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, please consider supporting us with that brand new Kinda Funny membership that you can find over on YouTube and on Patreon. For just $10 a month, you can get the very best of Kinda Funny. You can get our shows live as we record them. You'll get them ad-free, and you'll get your daily dose of Greg Miller with the exclusive piece of content, Greg Way, each and every day. For a chance to be part of the show, please submit your thoughts and opinions as super chats as we go. And today I'm going to need to hear it from you. Okay, because you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. Please get involved in the super chat section. Let us know what you think about Greg Miller becoming a PC gamer. We'll talk about that in just a second. Of course, the boys are back in town on Friday, August 23rd at 8 p.m. Join Nick, Josh McCouga, and Mark Ellis live and in person for a night of comedy at the Lost Church, San Francisco. This is a one night only, so grab your seat fast before they sell out. Head to kindafunny.com/comedy for details and tickets. Don't forget, we're an 11-person small business all about live talk shows. Today, you've gotten Kinda Funny Games Daily talking about Xbox's exclusive strategy, and later you'll get the stream of Concord with me and the boys jumping in for Concord Day 1.
Has anybody touched it yet?
Played some last night.
Played
Good?
some last night.
Dominated.
It feels good. Yeah.
Cool new maps. Cool, like a very hectic sort of new-ish mode.
Yeah.
Just felt really, really good.
And I read a lot.
What does
yeah.
that mean?
We're gonna.
He's insulting the amount of words are probably in the game.
Yeah, Bless. Just so you know, there's called a galactic map, and that galactic map is your central for all things lore. So if you fall in love with the characters, the universe, the world, if you want more Concord in your life besides just the weekly 1 to 3 minute vignette, you can jump to the galactic map where you can cruise around the stars and read paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of your favorite characters.
Yeah, okay.
Andy says he loves it because he loves menus.
No, I haven't read.
I love gameplay.
I haven't looked into any of it. I didn't really read any of it, but they do have a sort of Titanfall time trial, sort of like a speed through time trial.
I
Try
did
to get
try
like
that.
the
I
lowest
was like,
score.
oh, this is different.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But I'm going to read all of the galactic map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to read it all. If you're a Kind of Funny member, you can get today's Greg Way about this hot James Gunn Superman symbol. I noticed it today, and I was like, dang, that is a hot new symbol. I've never seen that one.
Good looking. Come on.
Thank you to the people who support us over on Patreon, like our Patreon producers for the month, Carl Jacobs and Delaney Twining. Thank you so much. Today, we're brought to you by Hims and Aura Frames, but we'll tell you all about that later. Let's get in to topic of the show. Greg Miller's a PC gamer now? What the heck is happening, Greg? Tell me about this. What's going on?
I'll stop everybody right at the top, all right? No, my wife didn't leave me. I didn't have to move in with my mom like so many of you PC gamers and go into the basement and sit there in the dark corner. Cheetos all over me, the Mr. Pibb right there, fucking crying as I alt-tab between Dota and porn. Just, oh, I'm so lonely, but I need to guard the mid lane. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of PC gamer. Just desperate and sad. On Twitter all the time, just yelling at people, spreading the truth like me, Greg Miller. No, Mike. I'm a different kind of PC gamer. Which, of course, it's Blessing sensationalizing the headline.
Yeah.
I wanted to come in and have a nice little conversation about, hey,
I didn't even make the headline.
here's my gaming summer vacation. Here's my gaming summer vacation.
Yeah.
What I did for 2 weeks with games because I went outside my comfort zone, Mike. A lot of talk about that lately.
We're
isn't it?
stepping out of the box, 2024 and beyond.
And I'll be surprised beyond that, going outside of my comfort zone led me to the personal computer a couple times.
Wow.
For a couple of different things. But obviously the one that has turned the most heads is the fact that I started WoW.
Yeah.
Barrick, there it is.
Wow.
I started WoW. I think for the first time, there's a slight chance I might have touched it in the past for 10 minutes and been like, I hate this and left or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting journey to get there, right? It begins with the one and only Diablo. Everyone knows I love Diablo, period. But Diablo 4 I've been obsessed with. If we have time here, I'm going to get to the fact that I platinumed it. This thing. It was a journey to get there, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
But this one begins actually a couple weeks ago before I left when I went to Blizzard campus. And I went down and played Vessel of Hatred. Or I shouldn't say that, actually. I played the new class, Spiritborn, which will be in Vessel of Hatred, right? Went down there, saw the new map, played it. We talked about it in that episode where Rod was up here. We had to talk with that. Xanth was there. We had a whole conversation, the reaction stream, yada, yada, yada. So this isn't about the preview of that as much as it was on the way down there. I'm on the plane. I'm like, I want to play something. Went through the Switch a bunch of different times. Nothing was hitting. Nothing was wanted. And then I remember that I had this little nugget.
Oh.
Advanced copy of Jason Schreier's new book, Play Nice. What is it? The Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment. And I was like, oh, I love Jason's books, period. Everybody should go check them out, right? Press Reset. The other one that I'm blanking on the name of, but there's two other ones you can check it out for Jason, right?
Blood, Sweat, and Pixels?
Thank you very much. That is correct. And so I started this on the plane, and it was really bizarre to be reading about, like, I'm crushing it on the plane because I'm just fucking so smart. I read so fast.
Yeah.
About Blizzard and its inception and these stories and all this stuff, and then jump to the next morning I'm on Blizzard's campus, and it's they got the orc statue
So
and
cool.
all this stuff and blah blah blah, and go
My dream.
play Diablo
Sylvanas.
and talk to Rod and see the president of Blizzard. Not Biden wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
A whole bunch of different people there, but it was like you see the statue of the hardcore names that have been etched in. If you did the Diablo thing, I remember. But
I'm gonna be an alliance character. That's not a very
that's a
good.
bad
That's a
Biden.
very bad Biden. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Was it? It wasn't.
It's like a 4 out of 10.
Give me a Trump saying he's gonna be horde.
We have to be the horde. We're gonna go horde, and once you go horde, you never go back. Everybody.
It's so good. Anyways, though, then I kept reading the book, but like being on Blizzard campus and seeing where it was going, then reading the book and seeing what was happening. There's a whole bunch of really fascinating stuff happening for me personally, which is the jokes aside of PC characters and Greg the PlayStation fanboy and yada, yada, yada. My career is PlayStation based because I was hired to be a PlayStation reporter. So I just knew that forever, right? And through that, I know Xbox tangentially, right? Because I'm paying attention and reacting. But I was never a PC gamer. I was never a Blizzard guy, right? So it's bizarre when I'm reading the things in the book and I'm like, oh, I remember Charles Onyett talking about that. I remember this happening in IGN in 2007 and seeing all these, and it gave me such a, and it's the good and bad of Blizzard, of which there's much, obviously. And Jason goes into it all, and the book is fantastic. This is not, Jason's going to come in October, come be on the shows,
nice.
Come talk about it. I will tell you now, if you love video games and great stories about video games, pre-order it, like for real. You can go get it right now. October 8th is when it comes out. Which is funny because that's when Diablo Vessel of Hatred comes out as well.
I pulled a little scheme because he DM'd me and was like, do you want a physical or digital?
Yeah.
And I was like, give me a digital. I was like, no, wait. Send me the physical because I want to have it here.
Yep.
But I'm going to buy the digital and then get like a voice to text or text to speech sort of thing podcast. You know what I mean?
There's got to be an audio
Yeah, I
version.
thought it was special because
In the
he
car.
also, when came in my DMs and he sent me, but he didn't give me the choice. He just gave me the physical version. If I knew there was a
that's
digital,
cool.
I would ask for the digital.
Oh, nice.
'Cause I also want to do the text to speech.
Yeah.
So the story of Blizzard's so fascinating. Jason's writing is so good in general. And then it is this really big blind spot for me of not knowing it, right? And so when you're hearing about it, and it's funny too, because David Brevik, Diablo 2, right? Super famous for making Diablo what Diablo is. I know David from Marvel Heroes when I'd interview him about that. So hearing about his first company when they were working on a Justice League game, I texted David. I'm like, I had no idea you made that Justice League game. I fucking love that game. Blah, blah, blah. I digress.
The Elves of Elwyn Forest.
It's this idea of
the Alliance.
As I'm reading it, I'm having this real FOMO of nostalgia of dude, I fucking love Diablo so much. I have since Diablo 3, which was my first entry to it, right? And the obsession I currently have with it, let alone being there and seeing this rich history and all this stuff and, the good and bad they've been through and stuff. I found myself being like, I want to go to BlizzCon. I wish I had gone to, I re-downloaded Hearthstone on my phone because I was right there. And then I was like, oh, it's PvP. I don't want to do that.
So blizz-pilled, man.
Exactly.
So,
and it's Overwatch is never my thing and X, Y, and Z. And it was that idea of damn, I don't think I ever gave World of Warcraft a shot because at the time when it was new, I wasn't playing MMOs and I definitely wouldn't have had a taste for it or had a PC that could probably do well with it. And so,
but also, is it the fancy aspect a little bit?
Yeah,
maybe?
a little bit, but you know how that is now where I'm over that. There's fantasy games that speak to me all the time. Like New World Eternum, right? I'm stoked for it.
Yeah.
That's a conversation that'll come up again when we get to it. But it was I was man, I want to go to BlizzCon. And I'm like, I want to start WoW. So this is after our vacation now because I finished the book on vacation. We were in the car on the way home. And Jen, I was like, Jen, I got something crazy to tell you. And she's like, what? I'm like, you're not going to believe this. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm going to install WoW when we get home today. And she's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah. And Jen was obsessed with WoW. That's one
Gangster,
of her,
man.
That is one of her games, right? A formative, if she was on Kind of Funny content, she would, in the same way I talk about fucking DC Universe or fucking Death and Return of Superman, this would come up all the time for her, right? Of how many hundreds of hours and all these different characters and yada, yada, yada. And she was like, if you are going to start playing WoW, I have to play with you. And she's like, literally, this will be a religious experience for me. And I was like, oh shit, fuck, all right, cool. So I went downstairs and got both the PCs up and running that we got it WoW installed, did the whole thing, set it up for the photo there with the two of us. And we went down there and jumped in. And it was, I want everyone to know the criticisms I will have of WoW. I realize I'm talking about an old game. I'm talking about a 20-year-old game right at this point. I understand that I understand that the games that I love have pulled so much from WoW that it's not fair to critique WoW for not doing it as well as the game it inspired. You know what I mean? There's that thing where you always think about rose-tinted glasses. You always think about jumping into an old game, all these different things. So to jump into an old-ass MMO, I was not impressed with WoW. I'm impressed with what it's done in this, that, the other.
You did classic?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
no.
No.
I did
Yeah.
WoW. I did WoW. We did
okay.
the current WoW. I thought about jumping into Classic. I did not. I wanted to just go with what it is now. Obviously, War Within is about to pop off. It's actually this week, right? It's
This
popping
week.
off right now. Yeah.
End of the week.
Mike's
Yeah.
ready.
I already renewed my subscription.
You have early access now, don't you?
I'm ready.
Yeah. But anyways, jumped in there.
Signed
and
up, threw away the key. He was like, do not let me change this ever.
I jumped in, and I'd say 3 nights of it. Jen didn't return for the second or the night or whatever, but it was me still going out there, and I wanted to do something different, so I rolled a hunter to begin with, and I had out them controlling my griffin and doing that thing, and I was like, man, I hate this. I hate having a pet. I should have been a rogue. Rerolled a rogue the next night, went back in as a rogue.
no.
Had way more fun with that. But the real turning point was me night 2, where I tweeted out of like, I can't believe this thing doesn't. Oh, actually, somebody else had already said in my thing. I can't believe when I put up the photo, somebody put out like, I can't believe this thing doesn't have controller support.
Crazy.
And then somebody responded like, no, they patched it in years ago. It has controller support. And then there's this back and forth of like, all right, so you plug in the controller, you do this command in chat, you can use the controller, but nothing's key bound to it. And then it was, Barrett, can you pull up the PC controller mod? Somebody was like, no, if you're gonna do it, you have to get this mod that I forget the name of. There you go. Console port. And they're like, it'll be a life changer, game changer. And it was that thing where I literally had played for a couple hours that night with keyboard and mouse and just been like, this isn't me and I can't do it. And it is me. This is hampering my experience of it, where it's just like I'm not enjoying not being like running too far from where I want to be. And again, it would be the same if there's another console that had a controller that was so radically different than what we already use. I just, it's going to take a lot of, and I'm like, this is hampering the experience of it, so I don't even want to do it. And I stopped that night, and that's when I went on Twitter and saw this, and I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, it's this thing. And I'm like, all right, download all the mod. And I open up this zip file of all these fucking folders. And this was right after we had done the Fallout London thing, where it had been a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, it's going to be a bitch to do. And then the site, if you throw it back up, Barrett, for that, it's over there because it's curseforge.com. They have a whole thing of like, you can just install our app that'll then mod the game for you. And I did that and clicked this button, and then I turned on WoW, and it's like, all right, controller support works now. And it had a custom layout and a custom UI for a controller and shit. And I put it, I was like done. I was like, I'm going to bed. And I saw this, did it, and played for another 2 hours or whatever.
Nice.
And then the next night came back and played more with it. And again, it was like,
Did you say ding in the all chat when you leveled up?
no, I didn't.
You have to say ding.
Gotta say
But
grass.
like, you want to talk about like, the things that impressed me a lot about it. It was like in the starting area, like at one point, Jen heard me night 1. I'm typing, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, it said that if you have a question, you can just ask a question." And she's like, "I've played thousands of hours. Like, what?" And I'm like, "My question is very specific about. I forget." And she's like, "Oh, it was something new." Like, okay, no, I don't know how to do that. So I put it in, and immediately got a response from just people who are chilling out there to answer questions to do this stuff. I'm like, that's fucking really cool. You know what I mean? Like, it was a trip to go back to it and see it. And again, the controller's not perfect, but it's way better. I can't. Mike, you fucking know. Right now, Phil is making them do it. Make it an Xbox version of WoW. Make it do it. And when they do that, I think I will give it even more time, I think, to what I'm doing with it. But it was fun.
Do we know that?
No.
Oh.
I imagine.
No, but like, I don't know. I think maybe you're feeling that now because this purchase happened, but this feels like something that we've been thinking was gonna happen for the last 15 years or so. Like,
well, now it's in their hands, though, right?
Yeah.
Now Phil does have the ball.
My thing
in his
is that
court.
this mod, console port from curseforge.com, is so good and so close. It's like, if you could do this as just a fan and put it up, Xbox has got to be like,
using like ability wheels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can do that, then it's got to be. Xbox has got to look at that and be like, come on, like, look at the success. Like, even for Blizzard, look at the success Diablo's having on console. Like, Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls and all that for console, right, took it to another level. And like Diablo 4 obviously is so successful to the point. This is a fun story of when I was there for the Spiritborn demo, right? We get the tour, you get the presentations, we get ushered into the play lab, right? And they sit us all down. And I sit down and it's keyboard and mouse. I'm like, fuck. And like, they're like, all right, we can just start playing. People start playing. I look around. I'm like, I turn to this guy and I'm just like, am I going to get like laughed out of the room for asking for a controller? And he's like, oh no, man, no, totally. And then everyone else heard me do it and started asking for a controller. I'm like, oh, that's a good feeling for me. Wow. That's how Diablo is for so many people now or whatever.
It's that for me. Like, yeah. I enjoy Diablo definitely a lot more on controller because it feels like just an isometric sort of action game.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, 3 nights with WoW. really enjoyed it, but the problem is, and this is a thing I've been saying since SGF, right? My SGF, and again, remember what I said at the beginning, my SGF demo for New World Eternum, right, was so much fun. And I'm like, oh man, this Amazon MMO feels so good on controller, on console. I can't wait for this to get there. And it is the talk to the guy, go kill 30 of those things, come back, turn it in, do the thing. And like,
well, some of these wolves' tails, why aren't they dropping? Like when me and Mike and Washi and the squad popped into the hardcore version where it's like you die and you're dead or whatever.
Yeah.
We were like, oh man, these drop rates are kind of rough.
during the beta or during the when it was on just PC?
No, we were playing WoW. He's talking about WoW.
Yeah,
My
WoW.
apologies. But it's like even hilarious of like New World Eternums drops you after you shipwreck on this island and you wash up and you do all the thing. I'm like, this is fucking cool. And I start WoW and it's like, oh, you're on this ring, you shipwreck. I'm like, oh man, they just ripped this straight off of WoW. You know what I mean? Like, okay, or whatever. But it was the idea of like the presentation, and of course, a 2024 video game versus something I'm talking about for 2004. You're talking about a different life. And granted, I know WoW's iterated and changed and done all this, but it's still WoW. It's still what it was to some degree there. But to the point that I think would have stopped me in the old days too, like the art style I really connected with this time for WoW. I liked it. The problem I had with being someone, and this is what I think you'd expect, jumping into a game this old, is it really was cool. For the first character, I did the shipwreck start. Sorry, I don't know the officially terms or whatever. The way you shipwreck and start on the thing and then go. The second one, when I rolled a human rogue, I chose like their starting area.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit more VO in the front, but I was very quickly on both characters left with like, what the fuck am I doing? Like why? Like I know why as a player I'm playing and I want to ding, I want to do this, but as a character, what are the motivations I'm doing? Like I didn't feel like there was a backbone story to it. In which what was shocking in a way to me was the idea that like, as everyone knows, back to like if Jen was on, she'd talk about WoW with me and DC Universe Online, right? Like I've talked about that game for far too long, but even always playing it, I was always like, well, yeah, the VOs kind of suck, and yeah, like this is like shitty animation, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is great for what it is. I'm sure WoW is so much better. And I jumped in, I'm hearing these WoW VOs. I'm like, holy fuck, it's as bad as DC Universe Online is. Oh my God. I had this totally pegged wrong that this would be something different. Same thing with animations and things like that, right? And again, it's an MMO. I get it. I understand the limitations and what it is in an old MMO. But it is that idea of like, came in there and it was really eye-opening of like, oh, this is what this is. But also, I compared it when I was talking to Jen about it at night, because even for her, she's like, man, they've changed this so much since how it was when I first started. All my characters had their own individual thing and that, and they talked about it. And blah, blah. I'm like, you have to
wait till like level 50 to get a mount or something like that. Was it 40 or
20.
50? No, but like in the early days.
In the early days, yes. It was
in the early days, it was the longest grind, and it felt so rewarding to like, holy shit, I'm getting my big saber-tooth tiger that I can finally like ride around in the country. It was so awesome, dude.
Yeah, and this one, doing all that stuff and jumping into it, it was like, okay, cool. I just didn't have I'm such a story guy. I just need a little bit of we're going after this thing, but I understand that whatever we were going after in the base game is 19 things removed from what we're actually doing in this game, and what it was a very bizarre thing of I likened it, to why comic books restart their numbers all the time. Because I'm jumping into issue 345 and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck has happened up until this point to get here. And I thought that was probably the hardest part. If I could have gotten in and had a baseline, here's what the story is, here's who you're going after, this is what we're building to, I think it would have connected a bit more with me. But for where I was, Mike, I was like, okay, cool. I can put this down and move on to other things.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are as fascinated as I am about Greg jumping into WoW in 2024, please feel free to super chat away with your questions and comments, because we're talking about Greg playing PC games and most importantly playing WoW in 2024 is wild. Were you fascinated by the Horde or any other Alliance characters? You said human rogue. I think for me, it's always the excitement of rolling a new character. Who am I going to be? Am I going Blood Elf again for the 75th time? Am I going to make that Tauren warrior finally? Were you going to go human no matter what, or did you have other options?
The first the hunter I did was a Taylor Swift, of course, but she was a zombie. Because you got the dead class in there. So I went in there, was happy with how she looked, just wasn't happy with how she played. And another thing I found, it's always interesting and rare, I guess, to come into a genre I don't know well in a game that's so established. I was shocked by how it is a fire hose of powers and moves to start with. Like, again, in terms of me rolling new characters over and over again, I would look to Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, right? And Diablo 4, I think, does just such a great job of you level up and you're getting those moves, but it never felt overwhelming. And I think maybe it's the fact, again, that I am, a console controller player, that I'm learning how to play with a keyboard and mouse in general, let alone to then also have all these different things that are getting added in and these passives and this thing here and that's I'm like, okay, like
you got to get the Razer mouse with the 20 buttons on the side like I had back in the day.
I had that at IGN. I remember.
I wonder how much of that is just it being the brand new version of WoW, because that does not sound familiar to me at all, Mike. Like being kind of overwhelmed at the beginning. I remember when we did our WoW Classic sort of hardcore run, it was as bare bones as it could possibly be, right? You would get like 2 abilities at the start, if that, and you would just kind of use those for the next couple of hours or so. I'm so fascinated by this because it's one thing that I can relate to this really, really well, and how much WoW was a big part of my life. But current modern WoW, I have like really no knowledge of.
Yeah.
Have you played like the newest version of WoW, Mike?
I'll jump back in whenever there's an expansion, and then I'll get overthrown by there's so much, but it's so cool to see the new areas. They give you the new level updates. That's as much as I'll go for.
And the art updates are awesome as well. Yeah.
Man, and those story cutscenes too, the cinematics, Greg, when you jump in. Beautiful stuff. But yeah, every expansion I'll buy and come back to. I'm excited for this just to see it, play it for a couple of weeks, and then give up on it just because I'm not as hardcore as I used to be with that, because it used to be my life. It was me and my little brother's life.
I was going to say, how many hours do you think you put into WoW?
Hundreds.
Yeah.
More. I mean, a lifetime, right? Like 2004 to 2008, me and my little brother, I don't think you could get a phone call in at our house because we were sucking up the landline internet. It was, Grandma thought we were all dead. It was so cool too. Every day come home from school, Mom bought us this 100-foot landline that would go all the way up to the...
Grandma thought we were dead.
All the way up to the attic where Mom's computer was, down into the main room with the phone. And we'd plug that in, and me and Jackson would sit there for hours over each other's shoulders, just looking as we ran around as night elves running through the glades, like just getting lost. It was a special time. And still to this day, I'll jump in and I'll see my old characters and smile. Like you said, it's pretty wild, as Jen, I'm sure, told you, to see the new look of it all, right? It used to be so different, and it's awesome to jump back in. It's a fun time.
Yeah, it was like 06 to maybe 2010 was just constantly in that world, cutting class early, not wanting to be in school, and just like only wanting to play WoW.
And see, like that's again from the book and the stories of the other side of that and all that. Like I am so sad I missed that. I wish I had been more akin or open or paying attention. It's one of those like, at the time, I know it sounds so silly, but like to be reading EGM and stuff, EGM was always more console focused. They did PC stuff. But there was PC Gamer magazine, right? That was like really in the weeds with that shit. So I think I was just my eyes were on the consoles I owned that for some reason that was happening, and you see art for it, you don't know. And again, what an MMO actually is and where the internet was and yada, yada. There's all these excuses, but even at IGN, I wish I would have paid more attention and been like, oh, I should really get into that. I should really try that.
For me, it's really cool because I grew up playing Warcraft 3 as well with my little brother, where it was that RTS PvP action. And then the idea of when WoW came out, we were all like, oh my God, I can be this character and I can role play as this world. It was really, really fun. They had thank you, Big Nick. They got the PvP capture the flag. I'll remember countless hours jumping into PvP that wasn't the team arena, but they had capture the flag and being able to run across the map and thinking I was stealthy, grab the flag and immediately die, have to go back to the graveyard, respawn, do it all over again. WoW has everything. WoW is a really special one, so I'm glad they jumped in. And yeah, for the Horde, always. I'm always going to be a Horde guy.
There was nothing more thrilling back in the day for like somebody who never really had an online experience like this. And we would be in Stormwind, and it's my first, 10 hours into the game. And then suddenly the Horde would, raid Stormwind. And all of these other online characters that weren't Alliance were essentially trying to do an insurrection. They were raiding the capital. They were raiding Stormwind. And to see all of these Horde characters running in, and just all of the NPCs trying to defend the city, and all of the other high level Alliance players trying to defend the city, it was so formative for me. for somebody who had just played like Halo online and other multiplayer, Call of Duty or whatever. So to see something like that was so mind blowing to me. Flying over the burning steps on the Griffin and like, you know, doing the like traveling from one spot to the other and looking down and seeing people fighting dragons and being like, holy shit, those are real people. That's not
one day I'm going to go there.
Stuff I'm going to be there. Dude, it was just like massive for me.
Through the looking glass thing of reading the book, and like they talk about like, you know, when in the early days, right, the first big expansion like put like the apocalypse was happening and the map got all torn up and people were blown away that it was happening and some fans were mad that it was happening, but they thought it was crazy. And then it was like, I read that and then like 2 weeks later, I'm talking to Jen and she's telling me her story of that before I even mentioned it, where she's just like, oh, you don't understand. One time this happened and it was like this. And then we all, you know, the Alliance and the Horde had to band together to fight this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it sounds so fucking cool. And it's like, that is such a lightning in a bottle kind of moment, right? Where it's like, now we're spoiled. The internet is ubiquitous. Multiplayer is everywhere. We are that pane of glass I always talk about where it's your attention and it's shattered. Like, you're never going to have that swell of players playing. And that's not 100% true as we see so many people playing Black Myth Wukong right now. But you know what I mean? In terms of playing this thing and then having that experience only in the game and it's really not even happening outside. It's such a crazy snapshot that I'm so bummed I missed.
Greg, you and Baron's chat back in the day would be insane. Baron's chat was well known for just insane chat all the time going off on that. And every time you'd walk into the Baron area, it would say, welcome to Baron's chat. And all of a sudden, you just get the most insane chat from people writing stuff. And you're like, you got to get out of your mom's basement for sure. But the best, I mean, I've seen memes lately of it. It's like, when you and your friend would start as two different races and then you'd finally find each other after hours of like,
coolest.
Oh, I chose Night Elf. Well, I'm an elf or I'm a dwarf. And it's like, how do I get to you? And then you have to figure out how to get to each other. And it would take hours. And it's like, oh, it was the coolest experience around. I'm so glad you jumped in, Greg. Yeah, maybe we can play more. I would like to see the controller mod in action.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because as someone who played a lot of Elder Scrolls Online, I thought they did a fantastic job with the controller support. And I was like, why aren't they doing that for WoW? Where is the love? And yeah, Greg, I'm right there with you. I hope that Phil is speaking with that team of, hey, how do we do this? Because this is a massive franchise going on 20 plus years now of like, how do we get this on the console? There are so many players that would jump into this because when I was a console only player, when I moved on from the PC, it was like, I want that MMO experience. And I've gotten that with Neverwinter, Terra's come. We've seen, of course, Elder Scrolls Online and more. And it's like, oh, this should be WoW. WoW is the juggernaut. What are we missing here?
I really do think that it will be I do think it'll happen. Do we know it's happening? No, I think it will because I think that's such an added value to Game Pass. It's such a great headline. And I think you'd see so many people come to it for the first time, but then also so many people, I'll roll a new character, I'll come back, I'll do this. And then you have that thing of like what Jen was experiencing playing, but like, this is completely different. I don't even know what's going on. And then also the memory and the nostalgia and what you've missed before. And I imagine a more streamlined, here's how you start, this and go with consoles.
I hope for that and more. Of course, let's jump in and say thank you to all of those sponsors that we have out there supporting us here at Kind of Funny. We have more Greg stories from his vacation and super chats from each and every one of you, but we'll take a moment from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Hims. Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims has treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you that boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments such as chewable hard mints, proven treatments like Viagra and Cialis, or their generics for up to 95% cheaper. No insurance is needed. The process is simple and 100% online. No uncomfortable in-person visits necessary. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/kindafunny. That's HIMS.com/kindafunny for your personalized ED treatment options. Hims.com/kindafunny. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions, details, and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. Here's the thing about birthdays, they happen all year, which means there's probably someone you should be buying a gift for right now. Give them something really special with Aura digital frames. Aura frames are easy to set up, update, and enjoy. Plus, Aura frames can be preloaded with photos and gift messages, so whether you're giving the frame to your sister, grandma, or your mother-in-law, you can make sure that the gift is personalized just for them. Recently, I gave my partner Leanza an Aura digital frame as a gift for our 6th anniversary, and we both adore it. We love being reminded of some of our most special moments, and it always starts some of the best journeys down memory lane. Right now, Aura is having their very first Friends and Family sale, and we've got an exclusive offer just for our listeners. For a limited time, you can get $35 off their best-selling frame by visiting auraframes.com and using promo code KINDAFUNNY. That's AURA frames.com, promo code KINDAFUNNY. This is the best offer of the season, so don't miss out. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, everyone. We have more Greg vacation stories and more Greg on PC, but I wanted to jump into the Super Chats who are currently watching live on YouTube, and those watching live on Twitch can get involved. And so we got a couple of fun ones. Of course, Ryan Mars writes out to me and says, Mike, yesterday I said you looked nothing like I thought you would. When I replied, I have 2 children, I'm an overweight father. It's okay, Ryan. Ryan said, hey, Mike, you're looking all right. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you.
See, I told you, I don't
Thanks,
think it's
Ryan, for the
necessarily
love.
a bad thing.
I see you, Ryan. I love you. DJ Kento writes in and says, Ray Chase, the voice of Cyclops from X-Men 97 and Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, is the narrator for Play Nice according to Audible, where you can pre-order it
that's
right
cool.
now.
Lovely. I'm gonna
There
do
you
that.
go.
I'm gonna do that.
S. Bubby J. Jubby, Bubby Jubby, I think.
Bubby Jubby.
Bubby Jubby, thank you.
Whatever you want. at
Whatever
this
you
point.
want. People joked about WoW taking over lives, but it was real. My day to day was go to class, hop on WoW, and when I got home, raid till 2 a.m., rinse and repeat. That's how it went. It was a great time. It was come home from school, never do any homework, just play WoW. Any sort of video games, that was my life. So I feel that.
I'll never forget. There was one day where we would all take I would take my Dell laptop to my friend CB's house, and our other friends would take their desktops over and do kind of like little LAN parties. We'd have either like the World of Warcraft South Park episode on, or we would just have Lord of the Rings on, just kind of playing in the background, getting us in the mood. And it was me and my friend, a friend of mine, Victor, who wasn't really like a close friend, but he played WoW.
Yeah.
And all of our friends had left their house. Like, it was their house, and they left me and Victor there playing World of Warcraft. And they left to go like to some hangout, and they're going to come back and play more WoW. And that they're like, oh, dude, we were there. And they were like, wait, who's at your house then? They're like, Andy and Victor. And they're like, why are they hanging out? It was like, it's World of Warcraft, man. Like, if people are just hanging out, like, even if you're not close friends, you're in the world together.
WoW brings you together. I'll never forget being 18 and my first, job away from home and all that, and meeting the security guard, Tom. Tom was so good to me because Tom found out I was a gamer and knew that I loved WoW. And Tom was an older gentleman who played a lot of WoW, and his family, he actually met his wife through WoW, had a kid. The kid was probably my age, and the 3 of them were deep into WoW all the time. Every night they would play as a family, and they invited me to family game night, where you could tell that Mike was a casual WoW player when I saw all of them. The best gear, they were raiding, they knew everything, and man, Tom and his family took great care of me. And then Tom's wife passed away, and you could tell it's like WoW was over there. And they never came back, and it was so sad. But I'll never forget the times I got to spend with that family. They were so good.
One of the, I think, sweet things, just to piggyback off of this, as an outsider that I've always known, but then was like really fun to see this, is that when Jen's WoW obsession ended because her video game career, took off and she had to go do other things, right? She passed her WoW account to her dad. And her dad, he's too sickly to play right now, but had played for so long and raided and done the whole thing, and he would just be sitting there playing. And so, like, she logged back in to do this, and it was so crazy for her to be like, oh my God, these are my dad's characters, and these are my characters. Like, you know what I mean? I think he might have deleted somebody to make space. It was like, cool.
It was one of the first times that I experienced the online friendship of somebody that was in our guild, and then becoming friends with them, like on back in the day, I guess on like Facebook, the early days of Facebook, and experiencing a death of somebody you knew online. Like it was one of those, like maybe 4 years after we played WoW, like I wasn't playing anymore and I didn't really talk to these people, but I saw like a post from, Pally Pro I was like, oh my God, that's so sad. I was like, wow, I haven't experienced this in gaming yet where it's an online friend. You always see those memes that go popular of like the last time somebody logged
Getting
in
that
or whatever.
whisper.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
man.
It was like, holy shit, this is like hidden in a way I wasn't expecting it to. For somebody that you would like do dungeons with all the time. It was really cool. Really, really weird.
Stockdale just gave us a super chat, didn't write anything, so thank you, Dale. And then CJ Splitson writes in with our final super chat before we move on and says, Mike, can you still hit a box on the snow bike? And Blessing, I'm still happy to report that I can smash a good nose grind on a box anytime.
What does that mean? On a box?
It's a whole thing. I'll
Okay.
tell you
Can
all
I give you
about it.
one in
later.
here because there's one you missed that I do want to talk about.
Oh, tell me.
Nathan Payson gave a super chat and said, I've been playing WoW for 4 years, and the thing I wish is modern press paid more attention to the content cadence, including cool experimental modes.
I like that.
I think that's an interesting topic, right? Because I think, again, the book, my life, the timelines of like when we start talking about like Mists of Pandaria in here, I'm like, shit, I remember like that
When they
being
brought
a
the
thing.
pandas in, bro,
Yeah, I
it
remember
was
that was
real
a thing
cool.
that I made fun of a lot. GameScoop or whatever. Like, but it's that idea of like, I can't fathom trying to cover WoW in a modern context.
Yeah.
And I think you can expand that out. And I know so many people were talking to me about Final Fantasy 14 when I was talking about this. Oh, you should play that. And it's like, even Diablo, I guess, doesn't count, but like these games that are ongoing games that go on for so long, Fortnite, I guess, is a better example, where it's like, it is so hard to get eyeballs on an ongoing game the longer it goes. Where you have a dedicated audience and an audience that knows it so fucking well that I don't think there's a way for this isn't a general assignment video game reporter at IGN, GameSpot, you name it. I don't think there's a way for them to jump in and deliver the news in a meaningful way because the people who care about that news are already getting it from their content creators, the actual blog itself, who in game, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, like I'm that way for Diablo, where I will go read the developer notes. I will go read the actual entire post. So at best, an IGN GameSpot mainstream article would signal, oh, I didn't see that yet, but I don't think you'd click on that. You'd go over to the other thing to do it.
You have your dedicated news areas, like the people that only specialize in WoW, those niche spots.
This is, when I was at IGN, a good analog to this was always Minecraft. Remember Minecraft at the time, biggest game in the world at one point. And it was Pear in these meetings every 6 months would be like, we have to figure out how to cover Minecraft. We have to figure out, and this is before wikis, which really would be the way to figure all that stuff out, how to do it. But it would be the idea of like, how do we get the people who are playing those games to come here? And the answer was wikis, right? But it's the idea here of like, you can sit there and say that's really cool, but look at DC Universe Online, which I'm not saying is a make a popular game. It has been going for more than a decade now. It's episode 39 or whatever. It's like you can put that up, but that's not going to get a general person to go look at it, and it's not going to get the hardcore DC person to go look at it.
Yep. Greg, you've been playing more PC games. Do you want to tell me about this?
I sure have, of course. So again, Andy tried to blow up my spot. I like to tell Andy things in confidence, and he likes to try to make me out to be the villain. You know what I mean? But weeks ago, I was on Steam, and I sent Andy a little message that said, "This Steam's pretty cool, huh?" And of course, he screenshots it, puts it on blast. I have to not deny it was me.
Always putting us on blast.
I got hacked.
I have a reputation to uphold out here. But no, with this trip coming up to Canada in the 2 weeks off, I was like, what do I want to play on this trip? And I jumped around to a million different things, but what I really came back to was Steam Deck. Of like, okay, cool. Like I have a Steam Deck. I've enjoyed my Steam Deck, but I don't play it like a lot of people play their Steam Deck. Like if I'm getting on the plane, it's usually I'm tossing the Switch and I'm not bringing the Steam Deck. So this time around, I was like, well, nothing's hitting on Switch. I need to investigate Steam Deck. And it was the one where I think I also tweeted about this in a very Greg way of like, I finally docked it. Like I bought the Steam Deck, whenever I could finally get it delivered, got it. I docked it once and it was a huge, like, at the time, hassle. It didn't Bluetooth connect right. It didn't display correct. And I was just like, never doing this again. Thank you. It's going to be my handheld. Like I play my Switch handheld primarily. Right. But even then didn't play a lot. Reviewed Cult of Lamb via Steam Deck. But when I wanted to play it on the big screen, I put the tower to the big screen and played over there. So now you jump ahead however many years it's been since that bad initial experience, plugged in the Steam Deck. And I was like, oh, holy shit. Like it actually read right. It actually did HDR
I want
right.
to thank you for tweeting that out, Greg, because I always have a problem having my Steam Deck set up at like my PC station, but I never thought to like I moved my Steam Deck to like the kind of entertainment center just to make room and shit, and actually like tried that out because of your tweet, and I was like, oh shit, and that's how I played. Thank goodness you're here. So
right. I was
man.
super impressed with it. And
it was your second eye-opening moment because the first one was maybe the first week you had your Steam Deck, and you came into work, and maybe you told me just like one-on-one, you're like, these Steam Cloud saves are pretty cool. I was like, here we go.
yeah,
They're pretty sweet.
You know, with the PlayStation, I have to fucking sync them. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, but then it got it on the screen, used the controller, got into that. And so I loaded it up with a bunch of different games. So it's more about the fact that I think I know how stupid this all sounds. And again, we're putting the characters aside. We're just here being human beings who play video games. Bless. All right.
Yeah.
Put the character down.
But it was the idea of like, oh, I think this is a turning point. I'm using my Steam Deck a lot more and getting out and wanting to play that way. Because again, in the past when I had it, it's weird because usually we get codes for review and they're not Steam Deck verified yet. So it's a whole hullabaloo and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I was really impressed with my Steam Deck to the point I'm like, I don't want to fucking buy an OLED. God damn, man. I do want to buy it, but I can't buy an OLED right now. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I need to commit to it and actually be in it.
We're deep enough to wait for another one, I would say.
Yeah.
Into the OLED cycle.
However, though, Steam Deck was impressive. Really had a great time with it. Loaded it up with games. The game I played through that week of being up in Quebec and in the lakeside cabin was Dungeons of Hinterburg.
This is what I'm curious about.
Yeah,
because like I think what it was a few weeks ago that you put up the Trello thing of like who wants codes, and I had missed it, I think. And then you went out of town, and I was like, oh, fuck, he's gone for 2 weeks. I'm going to just wait for him to get back.
Heartbreaking. I think it was way more than a few weeks ago.
Was it?
Because this is one that, like, I think launched at the beginning of June or something like that.
Oh.
Like, it was, we had seen this game, I had seen this game, I should say, at ID at Xbox when they were here for GDC. We went through, and it was one of those I looked at a distance to, and I was like, oh, doesn't really seem like my jam or whatever. But then I was looking for something to play. What do I want to play? And has been out. Dungeons of Hinterburg has been out for a while. It is Xbox Game Pass. I downloaded it to my Xbox there because I was like, well, let's just try it and see what's up. And immediately I was like, oh shit, this is such a Greg game. Because it is, hey, you are this burned out legal assistant and you go on vacation, which was pretty, great for me about to go on a vacation. And the vacation here is that 10 years ago in this, Alp-like town up in the mountains, all these different portals to dungeons opened up. And rather than be scared by it, they turned it into a tourist attraction. Oh. So people come to this tourist town, they go into these dungeons, they fight these monsters, they get loot, they do it. It's very Moonlighter coded, which was a game how much I adored. Not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of, hey, go into this weird world, do these things and come out with it. The idea here is that you do that. There's a whole bunch of different worlds. There's a whole bunch of different dungeons. Again, since it's tourist, it's very much like Bunny Slopes, where they have like ratings on the dungeon on the outside of like if you're ready for that. There's this, as you saw it earlier, there's a Persona-like, not very in-depth like Persona or long as Persona, relationship system where you are earning stars with the people you choose to spend your nights with, which then give you perks, which can be more magic, more hearts, more whatever, these abilities to go out to it. It's funny, it's cute, great art style. The action is very third person action, right? Where it is, you're using your sword, you're slashing, you're dodging, you're dodge rolling around them, lock on if you want to. Every one of the different dungeon locales you go to, not the dungeons themselves, but like the worlds or the parts of the town they're in, have their own magic. So when you go there, you turn on for the first time, and then you have 2 magic abilities that are more. It's dungeons, and of course for going through and killing these enemies or whatever, but it's also dungeons very much like it's giving you that hit of Zelda with the shrines where you go in and you have these magic abilities that you can use offensively, but usually they're like, okay, cool. These things are spinning counterclockwise. I have to stop that one, but get it over there to line up with this so that when I get on it, I can get over to that one and get on that one. And you have to figure it out using like these different platforms and like weight pedals. That's just one example. There's, tornadoes you can ride and things like that or whatever. I did not roll credits on it, but I've been enjoying it. I think it'll be one I come back to here and there or whatever, but it was like very funny, a humorous game, no VO, great art style. The combat is, I'm playing on normal, so it's not hard, but it's fun to get through and go through and do this. The puzzles I thought are giving me that like, got it. You know what I mean? On to the next thing.
Any of that entice you, Bless?
Oh yeah, all of it does.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, the more I think it actually might have been when I was at Evo or something. I remember just being away and I had gotten back, or there was something where I was like, oh snap, I missed the call for Dungeons of Hinterburg codes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been like keeping my eye on it. I think it's since around Summer Game Fest, and now the art style looks cool. Greg had talked about a little bit like the Persona like stuff, and that was the thing that really brought me in, where I was like, oh, I like games that do have that weird loop of you're doing dungeon stuff, but then you come out and you do social stuff and you hang out with people.
One of the things that's I think so cool about it, again, I love a game that commits to its setting, right? And so you are on vacation here. You are trying to unwind. So there are things of like, you go to this new area that'll have these new dungeon stuff, but you'll find these relaxation points where it's like, do you want to just spend your afternoon sitting on this bench taking in the view? It'll burn the afternoon, but it'll fill your relaxation meter, and it'll do this kind of thing. It's like there's benefits to just chilling out. And like the same thing with the relationship status. Again, the game isn't trying to, oh well, who are you going to see, and what would something happen if you went with this person? Like you have in your journal like all the different characters, some of which you haven't met yet. They'll be grayed out, but it'll tell you what hanging out with them would get the next level to give you. So it's like if you are having a hard time, like I'm running out of magic, I'm running out of stamina, I want to be able to dodge more, you can see it. Oh, if I hung out with them tonight, I would get a plus dodge, so I should go do that.
Let me hang out with Benny over there.
Yeah.
Give me some extra attack damage.
Yeah, James Collier writes in with the $5 super chat and says, "Bless, Dungeons might be a nice game for you to get through with your funk right now that you're having."
We'll see. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
gonna try it
I
out.
thought of you as well for that one. So
Bless,
that's good.
How did you? We had a great day yesterday playing
Yeah.
Wukong. How did you feel before that session and after that session?
I mean, I think I felt around the same, right? Like, I mean, in our review, we talked about how, like, I think we're both around in the same place as far as how much we like the game. But Mike had asked, like, am I going to go back and play more Black Myth? And I'm kind of like, I think eventually, but I don't know if I'm craving it right now in the moment to go back and just finish it all in one go right now. And even after our session, we had gotten past that boss that I was kind of stuck on. I'm still in the same place where what I liked about our time yesterday is you kind of showed me some of the side stuff and how, like, weird it can be, right? Of like, oh, just talk to this NPC and they'll send you on a weird quest that almost veers more Souls-like in how non-upfront it is, right? You have to like talk to him and then you'll find a thing for him, bring it back, and then fall into a thing, and then you'll get access to a whole new area that you like would not have discovered otherwise that is super missable. And then like the thing I really liked actually is one of the things you showed me affected how the boss fight goes, right? Like that was such a cool concept for me, but also at the same time, I'm like finishing it. I'm like, it still has the same combat system, still has some of the same stuff where I'm like, I don't know if I'm craving it right now in this moment. I could see Dungeons of Hinterburg possibly hitting, but I'm also in this place now where I'm like waiting for Astrobot to get here. I feel like Astrobot is going to be the key to happiness.
Smart.
Key to happiness.
The key to happiness.
It's going to be the key to happiness for everybody. I think it's going to be a good time.
It is.
I'm pretty excited about that. Greg Miller, you also have some mobile games here, and you and I
do.
spoke about mobile games. Well, yesterday we were talking about it, and I just really haven't jumped onto my phone to ever play games.
Yes.
I've played some Hearthstone, some Marvel Rivals, or not Marvel Rivals, Marvel whatever.
Snap.
Yeah, Snap. But like, what are you playing over there?
So yeah, Barrett's tossed up my tweet here as I set off to go on vacation again, where I needed a new mobile game, and I called out that I don't need Pokemon Go or Monster Hunter now because I play those already. I'd been looking for something to be stationary with. Monster Hunter and Pokemon are great. I enjoy them quite a bit. It was the idea, though, those are meant to be walking around.
Okay.
And this tweet literally came from the playground. Sudoku is great. That's great, Barry. That's a good joke. It was on the playground where I'm just sitting while Benny plays in the sand with his friends, right? So it's like I can't really move around to do stuff. So I got a lot of good recommendations. I downloaded a lot of stuff. The only one that was new that really clicked with me, and it even clicked is going too far, I think, but Invincible Guardians of the Globe. If you remember when they were
right.
like, hey, the Invincible's first game's out, and it's this weird team builder auto battler, and I was like, oh, okay. People had recommended it enough in my things, knowing who I am, that I jumped in. And you build your team, but it's one of those do it at 2x speed to simulate all the stuff. Do I have the points to beat these people? I'm going to do the thing, and it's giving you narrative. It was like I played it for a day, screwing around with it, and I was fine. I was like, all right, this isn't what I'm looking for.
I should have told you about Loop Hero.
No,
Loop Hero on mobile.
Maybe not. Maybe hold on. I might be considering Void Tyrant. I got there's an Octopath on mobile that I totally didn't know about that I downloaded, but it was trying to be too story driven at the start, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm just trying to get into some action or whatever. I downloaded Strike Force and tried that. That wasn't what Marvel Strike Force wasn't looking for that. And so what I ended up doing, of course, is just sticking with Monster Hunter now. So if you remember, right before I left, Monster Hunter Now announced they were doing this Mr. Beast collaboration with a Sword and Shield that I downloaded on the show, which was me opening Monster Hunter Now for the first time in a long time or whatever. And then as a joke, I started off trying to get all that stuff, and then I got re-addicted to it. Full disclosure, of course, Monster Hunter Now sponsored the shows while I was gone. After the Mr. Beast thing, where I organically opened it, but they did sponsor Kinda Funny. So I want to make sure you know, believe me, don't believe me, whatever you want on that, but it's out there.
You're level 30 whatever for a reason.
I'm level 38, yeah, and my battle pass tier is 39 now. It got its hooks back in me. Monster Hunter Now is a great time waster of a game. In the same way I think Pokemon Go is a great time waster of the game, right? Like, what are you doing? In Pokemon, you're throwing the ball. In this one, you're just tapping monsters, killing them, getting their stuff, getting better gear. You know, it's great at giving you the daily quests, the bigger quests, the special quests to send you off on that. They're doing a whole thing now that this is one of the things I had demoed at SGF because I will always take the Monster Hunter Now appointment, where they're doing dimensional links now. Because before it was, if you wanted to fight with other players, you had to be around each other. Now there's special monsters that you can go into, and then they just auto-populate from other people around the globe trying to do it or whatever. So that's been a fun way to get in there, find new monsters, fight monsters that are higher level than I probably should be able to beat on my own, and go off and do it. But yeah, I've been grinding it really hard while I was up there, where it was like the walk to the beach with Ben, click, 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 do the thing, get there, hang out. Then he needed something from the house, back to the house doing that. And then, wandering around. And this is how close I am to the full addiction in the way Tim is addicted to Pokemon Go, is that some of the quests are like, okay, well, you got to beat this very specific monster, right? That'll only do it in the spawn in the swamp or the desert or whatever it is, right? And it'd be that thing where I'm like, okay, cool. And then like,
Gotta fly to the Mojave Desert then.
I open it up on my phone and it's like, okay, cool. The monster is right now the monster I need 3 blocks over and 2 blocks down. So it's like, do I go and I'm like, no, I will not. I'm not taking a walk right now. I'm not telling my family I'll be back in a second. But did I say, Ben, we should go to a playground at one point? Yes. Specifically to get them.
Daddy's going to get some cigarettes.
It's like that. That's how they incorporate the walking to it. It's just like old school Pokemon Go, where you would see it down on your little AR map and you would go chase it there.
100%. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So like,
you can
see. I got mine open, right? And so the other thing that is good about it, like the other thing is good about it is they cycle. So like, right now, we're actually in between, it looks like, a grassland, the swamp and the grassland or whatever. Like, that'll change. Over time, the terrain changes. So you could, if you couldn't go to a million places or walk around, it'll change over time. So you don't have to worry about always moving or whatever. But yeah, you can get really out with the map and then you see all the different points. The other thing, too, is like it's gathering points like Pokestops of go there and you get stuff. So like a lot of times your daily or a quest, for the bigger quest, because it'll be a quest chain, right? It'll be, oh, well, you need to hit up 8 gathering points or whatever. So they want you walking around to do that. They want you walking around to find different monsters and do that. You have it where if you turn Adventure Sync on, which I do, it'll auto, when you're going, it'll paintball the monsters you pass so that you could fight them whenever you want. Okay. So rather than have to do that. So like if I look at my paintballs right now, my Palico's got a great Jagras, a great Gyros, and a Pookie ready to go if I wanted to go fight those right now. They have different rankings in terms of stars, what rewards they'd give me. Then, of course, you get into your material or your armor and your weapons, right? And you're looking at rarities there as well, where you go and level them up, and then you overgrade them to have the next thing to get stronger, to get fighter, go fight everything.
Do you need the game to be... Do you need any of these recommendations to be portrait mode only?
I prefer that, but no. Right, again, with Monster Hunter, why it works, right, is like if I wanted to go in right now and I want to fight this great Jagras right there, solo hunt, begin, right, and while I talk to you, I can just tap.
That's all you gotta do is just tap.
I'm moving as well. When I see him glow red, I should be moving, but I'm just so overpowered with this Mr. Beast epic sword I got now, man. You kidding me? I finished the quest, by the way. The whole Mr. Beast quest done. I got everything I need from that.
He got it.
Super strong sword, and he's dead, right? So it's like I can still carry a conversation.
Okay.
I'm looking for something like that.
Let's jump into some more super chats as we continue this show. Nathan writes back to you, Greg, and says, totally get that, but I'm more meant that they recently redid content cadence to an 8-week patch cadence that is way better than most recent games as a service.
Talking about World of Warcraft.
Yeah, no, I caught up when he got into it. I hear you. I think, and I bet there's probably an article about that on IGN or whatever when they announced they were doing that, and then it's that thing of like, I just don't think. I think it's the same thing with Destiny too. You're not wrong, Nathan. I wish there was a world where you could do that, but I think even when we look at, and I'm a bit out of school on this, but when Michael Hyam was at Fandom, right, they hired him just to cover Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Fanbyte, thank you so much. And then of course they were like, all right, this isn't working, or I don't know if it wasn't working. He got laid off from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I need Michael Hyam's biographer.
Tell us all about it.
No, he's done fine. He's landed on his feet. Very smart guy.
Thank God.
We love you, Michael.
Yeah, I need him for rent.
DJ.
We're going to find you a job.
DJ Kenta writes in with a $5 super chat and says, I was inspired by Bob Wolf and got a couple 8-bit dough arcade sticks, a monitor, and Boom Instant home arcade setup. Highly recommend.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love Bob Wolf.
Bob Wolf is the best.
Yeah, shout out to Bob. A lot of gear that DJ Kento just got, which is cool. Nice and Crispy writes in and says, Windows boot on your deck equals WoW on Steam Deck. Andy, is that true? Can I get WoW on my Steam Deck if we do that?
You don't need Andy. I can tell you. Yeah. A lot of people were telling me to do that as well, but it was that thing where it's like,
You can buy an Asus Raj.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like WoW that much to do that.
Okay,
and I was also like, I don't know how are we running Curse Forge on this thing? Like, you know what I mean? Again, I got it on the TV. I haven't got it hooked up with the keyboard and the mouse there. I did that once for something. I was like,
Speaking of the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
I got a long flight coming up, and I'm trying to figure out what my Steam Deck game is going to be. Because right now in my mind, I think I'm going to commit to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown because it just came out on Steam.
That's good. That's good.
But like
good
in
answer.
talking
Just
about,
end it there. Like, that's it.
because we're talking about Dungeons of Hinterburg too. And like one of the reasons why I wanted the code is because it is on Game Pass. I could play it there, but I want the Steam Deck version so I can play it on.
I think
on a flight.
especially, and I've only played like I did 30 or 40 minutes of Prince of Persia, like, to compare to Tales of Zao. I would say there's such different experiences that they complement each other. Where like again, Dungeons is about it's about being on vacation. Like she starts her day down there having a cup of coffee with her friend, right? Like it's like that vibe of like, it feels so stupid, but it's how I feel when I look at it. It feels like walking around on a Sunday in autumn. You know what I mean? Where you're not really doing anything, but you could do something, but you could just read the book in the park if you want. Like that's how Dungeons vibe is, where Prince is going to be the precise platforming doing the thing.
Have you thought about trying Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth?
I tried it when
Could be a sweet Steam Deck
when
game.
we got codes in the beginning of the year. I played, I think, approximately like 12 hours. And
It's
yeah, I
always
don't know.
the story with you and me, Bless.
There's we all play those first 10 hours, and then something else would come out. I think I would commit to playing more Persona before I played more Like a Dragon. I still need to finish that game.
You're
so I
so
don't think
close. You're so
I'm right
close,
there.
Bless. But here's another. Could I sell you on maybe a little bit of Nine Souls?
Oh, Nine Souls.
It's very good.
See, I
CD
feel like
Sekiro.
I feel like I only have. I mean, that is a good way to sell it to me. I only have space in my heart for either this or Prince of Persia: Lost Crown at a time. I don't know if I can balance both of these.
That's fair. Oh, you're still in the middle of Prince of Persia.
I'm in the beginning of Prince of Persia.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Fair.
Two more super chats to round this out. SD Turtle writes in and says, check out Wuthering Waves. I don't like mobile games, but this is a 10 out of 10 game. Same account can be used on PC mobile and soon PS5. Action RPG, open world.
It's like a Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I
style
was going
game.
to say, I looked it up. It looks like you, Bless. This looks like you.
A lot of people have brought up Wuthering Waves, but I always have to come back with the fact that like I had to get myself off of Genshin. Like I'm
trying to get off.
Yeah, like I don't know if that kind of game is gonna do it as much for me, but maybe I'll look into it. Enough people have talked about it that it makes me curious.
Lust for Chaos
Yeah,
writes in and
it's,
says,
it's like, look, I've worked myself off of cocaine, but you should try out heroin, Bless.
I'm trying to escape this.
Lust for Chaos writes in and says, I remember when Greg and Kevin got into Sweater.
Yep.
One of my characters is still part of the Blue Milk Mommies Guild.
Yeah, that wasn't a part of it too, where like I was in WoW and it was like, it's the classic thing whenever I go to a game that I'm having enough fun with. I'm like, why don't I just go back to Sweater? Why don't you know what I mean? Why don't I be? And now that was another one though, where the way we played it, I was like, what am I doing? I'm just evil. I'm just being evil. I don't even know what I'm collecting anymore.
Let's finish today's Gamescast with Greg platinuming Diablo.
Hello,
Greg, give me the
everybody.
rundown. You say Diablo is breaking me, but the breaking back and platinuming. Tell me all about
So
this.
yeah, this is a thing I wrote to Bless when I think I was on vacation still about this, but it was like I went around where I had wanted to platinum Diablo before the new season started. The season started right as I went on vacation. And little things happened here and there and other things to play, and it just didn't happen, which sucked. And I was in this lurch of I needed to get my softcore character to 100, and I needed to beat Uber Lilith, both of which I think are the Uber Lilith thing. People are always like, I can't believe you did. I'm like, I laid on the ground dead, and Lucid Dream beat them for me. Like, this isn't something I did, but it was fun. The 100 thing, though, I was struggling with because for the first time, it was that typical thing where the first time Diablo wasn't fun. I would say when I hit level 70, it became like, oh, fuck, how much more to get to 100? You know what I mean? Like, this is just not what I do in terms of I get every character to 100. I play and I enjoy and I'm just in the season, but it was like, this one was like, fuck, I had maxed out the battle pass. I had done all the things. It was get to 100 now with the actual character. My hope was to do it during the last season because there were so many people playing. When the season switches over, my character goes from the seasonal realm to the eternal realm, which I thought would cut me down in this. And so then it was
Is that
just
like heaven?
No, it's just the one. There's two different realms where you seasonally roll new stuff. It's a funny joke. I didn't really help you on that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anyways, though.
Takes a while to get back. Yeah.
I know, right? I feel like I gotta get this ring rust off me. And the long story short is it was taking me a very long time to grind her up, and I was playing, with our friend Xanth. That was helpful at times. It was this, that, the other, and then it was finally like the new season also introduced this new thing. There was a lot of grinding in there that I wasn't enjoying, mainly because I think I was doing it solo. When I got some other friends, including Rod Ferguson, to pop in and help me, and we were running the new season, I forget what they're called. In the new season, the roguelike mode that I'm blanking on the name of right now. When I was running that with people, I was like, okay, now I got it, and I got the lust back, and I was like, I got this, and finally did it. But there was a moment there where I'm like, it's that part of not every platinum journey, but many platinum journeys where you're like, why am I doing this? Like, it's like I got an hour off, Ben's asleep, and I go downstairs, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna go do this, and sometimes it was going so slow. I'm like, I'm gonna get maybe half a bar filled in. I'm not actually going to hit the next, level of the number I was on and stuff. But again, with some potions and some friends and the new seasonal stuff they're doing, that was there. I got through it. I'm okay. I'm ready for Spiritborn. Yeah.
You get that PS4 trophy yet? You get
I
that
did.
PS4
Yeah.
I knew you
double
would.
platinum it.
Oh, nice.
When I was on the couch today with Benny while he was watching cartoons, I downloaded at work the PlayStation 4 version through remote play, and then went in there and popped it this morning. So yeah, 2 platinums in Diablo, no big deal. But it's funny because again, the grind there of like 70 to 80 or 82, and it was taking me forever. I wasn't having fun. I was so upset because I wasn't having fun playing Diablo, and all I wanted to do was go to the seasonal realm and play the new character in Diablo and like do that battle pass, because I'm just that guy that needs the ding and the thing. But when you're in that no man's land, it's like, well, I'm not getting gear anymore because I finished the battle pass, and I'm not, I'm getting Paragon points or whatever, but it's not the same as getting a new ability or making myself stronger.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be. All right, let's wrap.
It feels like a kind of place where people are with Destiny 2 right now, where
just limbo.
Everybody playing Destiny 2 right now, knowing that there's nothing else on the horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like you're
Infernal Hordes. Thank you.
It feels like you're working at a place where you're all getting laid off in 6 months, so you're just kind of like, I guess I'm just like, do I just leave now, or what do I do? So it feels kind of odd.
It was for me the SpongeBob meme of like looking out at all the people playing the new season, having fun, and being like, I'm getting no credit on that battle pass. I need to be getting credit, and not to mention we're so close to the new character in October, where I'm like, I just want to be Spiritborn.
Let's get me there. Final 2 super chats to end out the show. Mad Rocks writes in and says, the Lies of P mission tracker makes other souls like feel lesser. What's up with that, Andy?
Lies of P mission tracker.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I like barely remember it.
I don't remember what they mean by that.
Yeah.
What is it? It's possibly them telling you kind of where a side quest is and the next spot it'll be in. So it's kind of less obtuse in those ways. It's a bit more guided, but not as upfront in your face of like, you need to go here, you need to go here. You have to look for it a little bit, but I think it's a little less of a guessing game, I would say.
May I recommend Armored Core 6 if you don't want to get lost in a story and try to find characters
this
that
is a
you
new
don't
game
know where
nobody's
they're
heard
at.
about.
Yeah.
You should jump right into Armored Core 6. They're going to tell you the story, and you're going to enjoy it. Don't worry.
Can you just
about
listen
it,
to a
jabroni.
recommendation from us once?
Okay,
Just like
don't
once.
worry about. I couldn't beat Balteus.
It sounds like a
You
skill
gave up
issue.
so
you
fast.
didn't come over to my house and beat Balteus for me.
You just
And you
gave
could
up
have done
on
that.
it so fast.
It was
Okay.
my number 2 for last year, only behind fucking Tears of the Kingdom, Mike. Just
SD
listen to
Turtle
us.
writes into Blessing and says, "Bless, it improves on Genshin a lot.
I don't
Shippable
want it.
cutscenes. Invest in one
downloading it.
character
I'll
at
tell you in a
once.
little bit what I think of
Don't be a
Wuthering
collector. Don't be a collector, and you won't pay."
I play one of these games. Y'all trying to just fucking shovel these games onto me. I only
Bless,
played
you're
one.
gonna
Leave me
love this
alone.
game. Ladies and gentlemen, we love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning into today's Kind of Funny Gamescast, where we talked all about Greg's games while he's been on vacation. Thank you for tuning in and supporting. Guess what? If you're watching live on YouTube and on Twitch, the day is not done. It's far from over. Me and the boys are going to hop in to the lab and jump into Concord thanks to some early access from PlayStation. So we'll be playing games with all of you. And then, of course, we'll be back with all of the fun content that you can get here at Kind of Funny. Don't forget, we're an 11-person small business. If you want the very best of Kind of Funny, consider joining us on Patreon and on YouTube with that Kind of Funny membership. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.